If you're new to audio engineering and producing, it's clear that you have a passion for music and you want to share it with people. And it's easier now than it has ever been to get into home recording. For a pretty small financial investment in some equipment and a dedication to the investment in your own skills, I'm pretty confident that you can get to whatever goal that you have set for yourself. Actually coming up with ideas and creating things is the easy part because you're the creative, but capturing those ideas in a way that represents those inspirations well, that's usually the difficult part. So I'm a full-time audio engineer and producer, which means I write and record music for a living. But before I got into audio as a career, I had been writing songs and playing instruments and practicing for years before that, but never had a way to listen back to it or to share it with anybody. It wasn't until I had the right tools and I knew how to use those tools that I was able to capture art that I was able to share and be proud of. I want to give you that same opportunity. Let's go over the basics of how home recording actually works. So let's say you're sitting in your living room and you want to record something. You're going to somehow need to get your vocal or instrument into a device that can capture and process that signal. So we're going to use a computer as the brain to capture and process our audio. We're going to get into specific details of what you might need in a second, but this is just a quick overview. So the next logical thing to buy would be a microphone, but you can't necessarily just plug a microphone straight into a computer. So we're going to need a device that can convert the analog sound that's going into the microphone into digital information that the computer can understand. That device is called an audio interface. Now to actually record and edit and manipulate that audio, we're going to need some sort of recording and editing software inside of our computer. Audio recording and editing software is called a digital audio workstation or a DAW. Now we're capturing audio, but we don't have a way to listen back to it besides like our computer speakers. So we're going to need some sort of high quality listening device like good headphones or studio monitors. So quick overview, we have a mic that goes into an audio interface that goes into a computer that records in a DAW, and then we can listen back to it on a high quality device like headphones or monitors. Now it's easy to spend an absolute fortune on audio equipment, but if you're just getting started, it's most likely a hobby for you and you're probably looking for a budget-friendly option for getting into home recording. So let's talk about some equipment that's going to work best for you and hopefully work within your budget. So the first thing you're going to have to invest in is a computer. Now as a beginner, the computer is probably going to be the most expensive part of your setup. And there's a big debate whether you should buy a Mac computer or a PC computer, but there are DAWs that will work on both. But some DAWs only work on one or the other. So if you pick a DAW first, that may determine what computer you buy. But if you're buying a dedicated audio production computer, I would recommend getting at least 8 gigabytes of RAM and 500 gigabytes of internal storage, and then whatever core and processor works within your budget. If you're gonna buy a PC, I would get an entry-level gaming PC or gaming laptop. And for Mac, I would probably get a Mac Mini. But for either Mac or PC, there are options for under $1,000 that'll get you pretty far down the road. For entry-level audio production, you're really not going to be pushing the limits of your computer too far, and it's not going to be until you start to have 80 to 150 track sessions that you're 100% going to want to invest in a more beefy machine. Now the next thing you're going to want to consider buying is a DAW. Now the software you do get, again, depends on the computer you have, but here's my recommendations. If you have a Mac computer, I recommend Logic Pro, which is probably the most popular software right now and sells for $199 one-time purchase. For both Mac and PC, I'd recommend Studio One, which is a really solid professional option. The entry-level version comes in at $99 and the professional version comes in at $399. There's a bunch of other options like Ableton and Cubase and Reason, but you're probably going to end up landing between $100 and $700. If you're trying to go a cost-effective route, my recommendation would be Reaper or Ableton Live Intro. Reaper is a super professional software that has pretty much all the features of any other DAW that's out there, and it only goes for $60. Now Ableton is a more popular name, so Ableton Intro is $99 and does have a limited feature set. Now on the other side of the cost-effective spectrum is Pro Tools, which is technically like the industry standard software. Pro Tools, depending on the subscription that you buy, goes from between $100 and $1,200 a year, which is ridiculously expensive. And I know a lot of people who have had issues with Pro Tools also crashing and losing projects. So I don't recommend Pro Tools, that's just my personal opinion though. Also, DAWs are different. They all have their own unique little character sets, but they all pretty much do the exact same thing. So if you decide to switch DAWs down the road, don't feel like you're gonna have to relearn everything because they all have the same functions. You just have to find where those functions are in a new software. Don't be afraid to just pick a software and then end up changing down the road. The next thing you're gonna want to pick up is a microphone. And a lot of people have pretty strong opinions on what microphone they think you should buy and what's the best for a beginner. And really, that doesn't matter. What matters is the microphone style, to what source you're recording, and then also if it fits in your budget. Don't get me wrong, there are big quality difference between cheap microphones and expensive microphones. They all do the exact same thing. Some do them just a little cleaner than others. So just for some general mic rules, a condenser microphone and in general a large diaphragm condenser microphone sound the best on quieter sources like vocals or an acoustic guitar or a harp or just something that's softer. And a dynamic microphone is made generally for louder sources like drums or guitar amps. That's not always the case, but generally that's how it is. If you're looking to go cost effective, my recommendation for a beginner vocal mic or a condenser mic would be the Audio-Technica AT2020. It goes for $79 and I've had extremely impressive results from such a low dollar amount. Another solid option for condenser mic is the Aston Origin condenser. That goes for $209, or the Rode NT1A for $199. If you're looking to spend a smidge more, the Warm Audio WA47 Junior is also a really cool, vibey option, and that goes for $299. For dynamic microphones, I recommend the classic SM57 or SM58 microphones, which go for $99, or the SEV7, which is a more modern competitor to the SM57 and 58, and that one goes for $99 as well. In a little higher price bracket for an instrument dynamic would be the Biodynamic M201TG, and that goes for $269, or the SM7B. The SM7B goes for $399. Now let's talk audio interfaces. Now first, before you buy an audio interface, it's good to identify your input needs. A vocalist trying to record a single microphone is going to have different needs than a drummer who's trying to mic a whole drum kit. For most cases, I recommend starting with a 2 or a 4 channel interface, which that means you could sing and play an instrument, or you can record a few stereo instruments together, or you and your friends can sit around and make a podcast together. If you're a drummer going to record your drum kit, I would go for an 8 channel interface. The Behringer Euphoria UMC22 is the most cost-effective option, coming in at $69. Now it has a combo input for either a microphone or a 1/4 inch, and then it has a dedicated 1/4 inch channel for an instrument. So you can record a microphone and an instrument, or you can record a stereo instrument. Now in the industry, Behringer isn't known for having the most quality of products, but it is a great cost-effective option. Going up in price a little bit, but probably my biggest brand recommendation would be the Focusrite Scarlett line. The Focusrite Scarlett Solo has a 1 XLR input and a 1/4 inch input, and that goes for $119. The Scarlett 2i2 is a little bit bigger and it has 2 combo jacks, so 2 XLRs or 2 quarters or any combination of those, and that one goes for $179. And the 2i2 is actually my first audio interface. The Persona Studio 24C is also a great 2 input option. That one comes in at $169, but it also comes with a license of Studio One Artist, which is valued at $99, so that's a really solid option. Now the Universal Audio Volt 1 and Volt 2 are pretty new to the market, but they're really hot right now. People are really liking how it sounds. I don't have any hands-on experience, but I've heard really good things. The Volt 1 comes in at $179 and the Volt 2 comes in at $189, and they also come with a license of Ableton Live Lite, so that adds even more value to that package. Focusrite and the Scarlett line have had a real big hold on the beginner audio interface market for quite a few years now, and I've heard the Volt referred to as a Scarlett killer, so who knows? The Volts are probably going to continue to get more and more popular. Now let's talk monitoring options. A lot of people think they already have headphones that will work, like Apple headphones or Skullcandy headphones, but I would really advise you against that. Not only are we looking for something that has a full frequency response from 20 Hz all the way to 20,000 Hz, we also want headphones that have a decently flat frequency response, so what we're hearing back from the software isn't affected by the frequency response of the headphones. If you're on a budget, I would not recommend buying studio monitors starting out. I would just invest in a good pair of headphones. You can always add monitors on later if you want. I'm a big fan of the Audio-Technica ATH line of headphones, and the bottom end of that line is the ATH M20X, and that comes in at only $49, which is super cheap. Now you do get what you pay for, but it is a good budget-friendly option. Audio-Technica also has the M30, 40, 50, and 70 models. Now I've had the M50s, which go for $149. I've had several pairs of those for probably over 5 years now, and I've never had any issues. They're a super solid headphone for the price. A few other popular options would be the Sennheiser HD270s for $99 or the Beyerdynamic DT770s for $159. I really recommend not going too cheap on headphones though, because they will stick with you for years. If you're wanting to get into studio monitors, there's 2 pairs of entry-level monitors that I would recommend. The KRK Rocket line is really solid for the price. The 5-inch model comes in at $378 for a pair of them. Now the Yamaha HS line is also another super solid line, and the 5-inch model of that comes in at $399 for a pair. If you're wanting to go more budget friendly, I'd recommend the PreSonus Iris E line. The 5-inch pair goes for $149 and the 3.5-inch pair goes for $99. If finances aren't as big of an issue for you, I'd recommend the Focal Alpha 80 Evos or the Neumann KH120Ss or the Focal Shape 65s. Okay, now let's talk about packs. A lot of this stuff comes in bundles, and I know Sweetwater has a few really cool deals out there for you. A good bang for your buck interface and mic combo is the Scarlett Solo and the Audio-Technica AT2020, and that bundle goes for $209 on Sweetwater. Another solid bundle is a PreSonus USB 96, which comes with a license of Studio One Artist, and then the Audio-Technica AT2020 mic, and that comes in for just $178. Again, you can go super budget friendly with the Behringer Euphoria and a set of headphones for $129. Again, you get what you pay for. This would be a super solid starter option right here. We got the UA Volt 4 interface, the Rode NT1A mic, the Audio-Technica ATH M40X headphones. We got stands, we got cables. Everything goes for $579. That's really everything you need besides a computer. So let's talk about MIDI controllers. So regardless if you're a piano player or a keyboard player, if you're producing songs, I would really recommend getting at least a 25 key keyboard so you can control your virtual instruments and save you hours and hours of programming MIDI notes by hand. There's some really cool 25 key options from Akai and Novation, and if you're a keys player, I'd recommend getting at least a 61 key or a full 88 key keyboard. And you're not going to want to go synth weighted. You're going to want either semi or fully weighted keys if you're a piano player, because you kind of want that to feel real to you. And if you've never played keys before, it doesn't really matter, and synth weighted is much cheaper, so I'd probably just go for synth weighted keys. Now here's some accessories you're going to want to look into. If you didn't buy a bundle, you're going to need mic stands, you're going to need mic cables. Also, if you're an instrument player, you're going to need an instrument cable to run from your guitar into the interface or from your keyboard into the interface, and you may need MIDI cables if you're going from your keyboard into your interface. If you ended up buying studio monitors, you're going to need a conversion cable that goes from 1/4 inch out to XLR in on your studio monitors. If you plan on writing a bunch of songs or working on multiple different computers, I would recommend getting an external hard drive, something like a Samsung T5 or something like a G drive or a Lacy rugged drive. With an external drive, you can pretty much get endless storage in or outside the studio, take it on vacation, and do whatever you want with it. Another accessory that you're probably gonna need at some point in the future is an iLok. So the more you get into audio production, you're gonna buy plugins that go inside of your DAW that help you out with your workflow. Now, most all plugin licenses are stored on an iLok, and yeah, you're probably gonna need to pick one up at some point. If you plan on taking any part of the music production process seriously, I highly recommend not going super cheap on equipment. Now, even though all the gear pretty much does the same thing, you are getting what you pay for. And also, if you buy what just suits your needs now, you're probably gonna have to reinvest in the near future because you're gonna outgrow it. You're gonna need a bigger controller or more inputs or a bigger computer or something, and I speak from experience. I hope this was helpful for you and inspired you to invest in some recording equipment to start your home recording journey. All the equipment mentioned in this video is linked below. I appreciate you watching. If this video was valuable to you and was helpful in any way, I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel. There's many more videos coming in the future. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.